Hey everyone, welcome back to Cooking with the Wook. Today what we're going to do is we're going to make some risotto. Specifically, it'll be a mushroom and sausage risotto. Alright, so to start off with our risotto today, we've got 2 cups of Arborio rice. It's going to release a lot of starch into the liquid, which is why we want to choose this sort of rice. Additionally, we've got 1 onion, chopped up, probably about medium dice. 4 sausages, removed from their skins. You could use sweet sausage. I happen to like Italian sausage, but to each his own. Then you want about 2 ounces of dried mushrooms, or alternately you could use 2 pounds of sliced fresh mushrooms, whichever you'd like. We've also got some 4 cheese mix, 4 cups chicken stock, probably about a cup or so of white wine, spices and salt and whatnot to taste. I'm going to go with some rosemary and salt today. Additionally, we'll also have the fat component. In this case, it'll be butter and olive oil. So step number 1, let's go ahead and heat up your pans. You've got a nice, skillet here. In addition to a skillet, you also want to use a little saucepan. Reason for this is when it's time to add the broth or stock to the rice and the meat, you want it to be at the same temperature, roughly. So just kind of squeeze 4 cups chicken, or I guess you could use vegetable stock, off into its own separate pan. Go ahead and cover it. Hook up the heat so it comes up to a boil, and then reduce to a simmer. While we're doing that, go ahead and throw about 2 tablespoons of butter and probably about 2 tablespoons of olive oil into the skillet. While that's going, take about 2 cups of water and microwave that, or you can heat it up in another saucepan if you'd like. Want to get it boiling, what we need to do is steep our dried mushrooms in some boiling water to rehydrate them. Once you've got your butter melted into your olive oil, go ahead and throw in your whole onion and just kind of give her a good stir. You want to slightly reduce the heat and just kind of let those fry up. Alright then, so once you've got your water hotted up, go ahead and pour it over the mushrooms. If you're going to be using fresh mushrooms instead of dried, keep in mind that you may need to use more liquid. Just kind of push them all down in there. Let them rehydrate over the next 20 minutes or so. It's probably a good idea to keep that covered if you can. So it's been about 8 minutes or so, and as you can see, the onions are really starting to turn color. That's just about perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to throw in some sausage. Just kind of tear it up. No need to be exact. Granted, similar sized pieces will cook in similar times. Larger pieces will cook slightly longer times. Smaller pieces, slightly less longer times. You get the idea. Just go ahead and stir it every minute or 2 till the sausage is done. That probably won't take more than another 6 or 8 minutes. Alright, so it's been about 8 minutes or so. You can see the sausage is really starting to develop a nice sort of color. Onions are really cooking down, so this is just about the perfect time to add your 2 cups of rice. What you want to do is just kind of incorporate the rice into your onion and sausage mixture. Try and get as much of the rice as you can coated in the olive oil and butter, not to mention the fat from the pork. Just kind of work it together. Overall, mix it together. Shouldn't take more than about a minute or so. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now what you want to do is throw in a good 3/4 cup to a whole cup of white wine. Give it a good stir. I want to reduce the heat just a tad. Keep it to about a simmer till that wine evaporates or is absorbed. Shouldn't take more than about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more, really depending on heat at this point. Now, you can go ahead and add your mushrooms, any spices as you feel needed. I'm going to go ahead and throw in about, I don't know, half a teaspoon or so of rosemary, and about a cup of the reserved mushroom water. Now you want to decrease this to about a simmer. Stir it every couple of minutes. At this point it's probably a good idea to cover it. It's been about 8 minutes or so, and as you can see the mushroom water is pretty well absorbed. So what we're going to start doing now is ladling the broth in here. About 2 ladlefuls will do it. Just go ahead and stir it up a little bit. And what we're going to do now is just let all the stock either absorb or boil off. We'll repeat this process another 3 times, possibly 4, depending on how much stock we've got left. Alright, so you can see all the stock sort of been absorbed there. Go ahead and repeat the process. Once again, the same process. And you've got it about enough for about 1 more ladle. Go ahead and hold back on that. We'll be using that for the sauce. Alright, now as you can see, some of the latent water is kind of seeping up towards the top. That and how done the rice is should give you an indicator that it's time to add the final amount of liquid. And about 2 handfuls of cheese. Want to take that off the heat. Go ahead and stir in the cheese. And this, in addition to the starch that's in the rice, will make a nice velvety sort of sauce. Now granted, you want to eat this warm, but hey, it heats up pretty well, so if you want to freeze it or something, knock yourself out. So there we go. Doesn't that look nice? Thanks for watching.